Yeah, welcome back to coverage of Grand Prix Vancouver. My name is Marshall Sutcliffe, and I am joined in the booth by special guest commentator Brian Kibler. Hey, Brian.
Hello, hello.
And we are going to be watching Game 3 of a match here between Conley Woods and Michael Liu. I don't know what their decks are. Michael Lewis, right.
We still have Liu on the screen.
This is twice.
But so they're coming here. They have 3 losses each. That's Michael Lewis on the left side of your screen. You're seeing right now. Conley Woods on the right.
Right.
They're coming from Pod 4, which is the pod with 3 losses, top pod with 3 losses.
Okay.
So if one of them goes 3-0 in this draft, they have an outside shot of making top 8.
Okay. So this is an important match for both of these players. Also, just trying to get deep and get some pro points and get some deeper catch and all that stuff on the line as well.
It's always good to win.
Winning is one of my favorite things. Get a look at Rich Hagen behind Conley there. Conley was 8-1 on day 1 of this tournament with a blue-black seal deck, which we do not see a lot of on the coverage booth here. He made it work, though. We got to see him for one match, which he just flooded both times.
Oh, it is Michael Liu.
It is Michael Liu. Hey,
actually, right below Michael Liu on here is Mike Lewis.
Oh,
so I was very confused. All right,
so we've got 2 planes by Conley, and he just says, go.
Conley has a fistful of black cards. Go with his 2 planes. It looked like he mulliganed to 6.
I see an
did not want to go to 5.
Yeah,
that is not a swamp.
5, and he's just going to pass a turn back. This game could be quick, except for that Michael hasn't come out very quickly here. What do we have? Maybe a tandem lookout? All right, so it's a Galvanic Alchemist, so this is not exactly an aggressive 3-drop. And Conley, unfortunately, has to just ship the turn back. I see a Deathwind in his hand. He can protect himself here if he can start hitting some mana and amass the components. Well, this is going to put Michael ahead long term, but it doesn't actually affect the board now.
Well, the thing is, from this position, generally when you have one player who's short on mana, what they usually want is for the other player to be basically mana flip.
Right.
Because the best way for someone who's short on mana to win is to draw into their mana and have the fistful of spells that they have carry on to victory.
Right.
In a situation where you're sort of stalled and your opponent is able to amass long-term advantage with something like amass the components, they're just going to be able to get further and further ahead. And it's going to be tougher for you to get back in the game.
Right, and now we see that trend continue.
With the Vanguard. Oh, there's a swamp.
And there's a swamp.
Not quite on time, but it will let Conley get on the board.
So I saw an Appetite for Brains in his hand. Is this the time when you use it to prevent a 5 or a 6 coming down, or do you need to start committing stuff to the board and make that your plan?
Like the thing is, looking at his hand, he has, it looks like Homicidal Seclusion, Drive of the Dead, and a Deathwind. So
do you just play the Driver of the Dead and then plan on hitting a land next turn in Homicidal Seclusion?
It seems like what. Yeah. That's
a Corpse Raiders.
Okay, that's even better.
A 6/4 lifelink is going to make short work of what Michael's doing now.
A big deal.
Now we've got cards like.
But no, that's an Alchemist Apprentice, which is very good against Homicidal Seclusion because you can even better against Homicidal Seclusion.
We have some spiciness, yeah. So
I actually disagree with this tap here. The Tamayo, I think it's actually correct to tap down Conley's Swamp because you're only getting in 1 damage here with your Galvanic Alchemist.
Yes.
And tapping down Conley's Swamp actually keeps him from playing what is clearly a fistful of black cards.
I agree.
And Conley draws Righteous Blow, which is going to do something. It can take out that Griff Vanguard, but it's going to be very difficult for him to get back in this game when he's this far behind against Tamiyo.
Yeah. So I saw a Blood Flow Connoisseur in Conley's hand, and it looks like it's going to come down, and that makes a lot of sense because that's going to allow him to still get value out of his Seclusion even through a Tamiyo.
Yeah, I mean, it will let him try
on the one that's not tapped.
Right, exactly. He can if he draws a land and his opponent doesn't have anything to get in the way, he can potentially play Seclusion and hit Tamiyo.
Yeah.
The problem is that if his opponent has anything, any kind of chump blocker,
Heal from reality,
right?
blocker.
He's just in really bad shape.
Yeah. Conley's in a bad way here, and he's going to be very aggressive and just tap down his creature.
Wants to get beatdowns here.
So I mean, Conley's going to take 1. Currently, unless this is like a Fervent Cathar, but he wouldn't have tapped down if he had a Fervent Cathar.
So,
Tandem Lookout. Man,
getting further and further ahead.
Okay, so now we know that Conley has a Righteous Blow here. He's at 14.
Yeah, Griff Vanguard.
You're not going to save it for the Tandem Lookout?
I mean, the Tandem Lookout still paired with the the Galvanic Alchemist. So he's going to need to get rid of the Galvanic Alchemist, or at least be able to stop the Galvanic Alchemist as well. So I think he needs to get that Gryff Vanguard off the board.
Okay.
All right. So Conley draws a Voice of the Provinces.
That's not going to do much here. Now the Deathwind is an option.
He can Deathwind the Heirs of Stromkirk and attack Tamio, but that doesn't do much. I mean, Tamio still. Yeah, he is just very far behind.
Yeah, he's very far behind is the vibe I get here, and he's trying to figure out the best line of play. This is a very tight situation where if Conley just, makes the wrong decision at one point, he doesn't have any room for error at all here. Let alone, and he might not even have any room, just period.
Yeah. Well, he's just gonna attack. All right, that's fine. And now.
Got the Deathwind all queued up there.
He's sitting there with a fistful of black cards, and only the one small. So you can, at best, hope to Deathwind something here. It's another Amass? Wow.
I mean, Conley's getting buried in card advantage here for sure, but he is not quite dead. I mean, getting Tamio's off the board is going to be a tall order and probably the number one thing that he wants to do.
Right. That's certainly true. So bringing him in, I believe Deathwind's probably going to take out Tandem Lookout here. Although I don't know what Conley really has to deal with the Heirs of Stromkirk in that position, in that case.
Yeah, because that's going to end up killing him eventually.
Right.
I mean, Michael has, 6 cards in his hand?
Yeah, and he's not going to have... He can still draw with his Tamio if he wants, or tap down a guy, keep his Tamio protected.
He could draw 3 cards with Tamio. So I don't know that, maybe you just let him have his cards. It feels weird to do, but...
Deathwinding the Heirs of Stromkirk. Which dies, and then Michael Liu draws 2 cards. Ugh.
He already has 7 mana and a Tamio out, and he's drawing 2 more.
Remember Ophidian?
Yes.
He has 2 Ophidians.
2 Ophidians.
Yeah, wow.
And now Ophidian has Planeswalker friends.
Yeah, I mean, Tandem Lookout is just such a powerful card.
It is.
It allows the player to just get so far ahead and not even necessarily have to risk Tandem Lookout in combat to come in and get the extra card. With a card like Scroll Thief, you always had to get in with Scroll Thief.
You did.
So if your opponent had a reasonable amount of guys on the board, they could stop your card drawing. With Tandem Lookout, you can pair it up with a flyer. Just get through. You can pair it up with something like a Latch Seeker, and just be guaranteed those cards.
Wingcrafter.
Right. Right, so yeah, that gets really bad.
Yeah, Conley's drawn a second swamp here, so we might be able to see him start to try to find a way to dig himself out. I mean, as long as the Tamio's out, though, that Homicidal Seclusion is just not going to get it done.
It just won't do it. I mean, he has to kill Tamio before Homicidal Seclusion can really do anything. And then, I mean, he's still in a position where his opponent has so many cards.
Yeah.
That Scalding Devil is going to be able to get the job done.
It's going to do 1 damage this turn, in fact, assuming that Michael doesn't have anything else.
That looks like, is he going to Appetite for Brains? Is he hungry?
He is.
Looks like he is.
Well, at least he gets to have perfect information.
All right, so we're off the board.
A little off the camera. Conley's going to give us a help here. So it's an Amass, which he gets rid of. That's exiled, and he's going to write down the rest.
I believe it was Alchemist Apprentice. I think it was Crippling Chill.
Yep.
Alchemist Apprentice, Crippling Chill, and Spectral Prison, along with an island.
All right, well, Spectral Prison's very good versus Homicidal Seclusion.
It is.
But...
so is Crippling Chill. So is Alchemist Apprentice.
Oh, no.
Every single card in his hand. It's really good against Homicidal Seclusion.
All right, so Driver of the Dead comes down, and Michael's going to activate a Scalding Devil on end step and untap with a grip of cards and 100 mana and a Planeswalker and 4 creatures. I mean, I watched the match at Worlds that Conley won versus Craig Wesco, and I thought he was dead. So
at no point did Wesco have a Planeswalker in play. So.
In limited.
Yeah.
Face down many a Planeswalker in limited, and it's they demand respect.
Absolutely.
So he can actually activate the Scalding Devil 3 times per turn now.
That is one annoying devil. It is rare that you see Scalding Devil really have that much impact. All right, so Tamio taps down the Driver of the Dead, which will allow him, I imagine, probably get in with the Galvanic Alchemist and a pair of Galvanic Alchemists. Oh, maybe he will attack with Tandem Lookout as well. Yeah, I guess.
If you're going to do it, I would just attack with all of them.
I mean Conley is at 9 life.
Yeah,
so
it's not like
you
Conley
might as well
has
just
a lot
attack with
of
all of your
options
creatures.
here. Yeah, I would
attack with everything.
I would too. Like Conley does not he wants to kill the Scalding Devil for
right. He can't afford to.
He wants to kill the Tandem Lookout. Like he just can't block everything.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess Scalding Devil attacking with Scalding Devil would let him potentially free kill one of your things because he can sack one of his guys, which is going to untap.
And then make the
because
block
right. You get the 2/2. So.
So Conley's deciding what he wants to do here. What would you do here? Would you just block the Tandem Lookout?
I mean, I think
it's the most power coming in.
Right. I think you have to block Tandem Lookout here.
I mean, the other two blocks just aren't very good.
You can't really block either of the others, and you really need to get the Tandem Lookout off the board if you're going to, ever be able to get back into this game.
Yes.
You're already behind, in life total, board presence, and cards. So that is both dealing damage to you and generating enormous amount of advantage for your opponent. I mean, I could have seen. I believe Michael Liu had that Crippling Chill in his hand. I could have seen him just casting Crippling Chill on the driver, using Tamio to tap down the Blood Flow Connoisseur.
Right,
so everything, so he doesn't lose.
Yeah.
Right, he gets an additional card, as well as has nothing that can possibly get in the way of his Tandem Lookout. So he'll keep that in play.
Yeah, and I think these blue-red decks are challenging in that way, in that they force you to find that time. All right, he's got Vigilance here. They force you to find the time in the match when it's your turn to be aggressive, right? Like he's kind of had his Alchemist Apprentice and his Galvanic Alchemist. He's just going to let it hit?
Yeah. I mean,
ping you.
He has sufficiently impressive board position that he can just afford to. I think he can just attack with all of his creatures after a Tamio tap, and then ping with Devil to kill.
He still has Crippling Chill.
This game's over. I think.
Yeah, I think this game's just over.
He just taps one with Tamio, sends everything. Triple. He doesn't do Crippling Chill because he just gets 1 point in with the Scalding Devil.
Right.
There's only one blocker. Yeah, there it is.
And then he activates it. All right. So it looks like Michael Liu and his friend Tamio.
Yeah. Tamio is a good buddy to have around.
Defeats Conley Woods. Yeah. Conley being stuck without a swamp there really punished him, and looked like he was just behind the entire duration of that game.